Hello everybody, I hope that your 2025 has started well and you're ready to conquer the new year. And so in today's video I would love to speak about the perfumes that I have recently tried, and most of them are new releases. So if this is something that you're into, then let's get started. And so the first perfume is the Dream by The Maker, and I have already reviewed this perfume on my TikTok channel. I have recently started my TikTok, so if you guys are interested, I'm gonna leave the link in the description box. So this perfume really reminds me of two perfumes that I already tried before, and it reminds me of Vanilla Skin by Fleur. It also reminds me of By the Fireplace by Maison Margiela. So it's like those two perfumes had a baby because this perfume, it kind of has this like your skin but better quality, very like faint vanilla, very much like your skin but better type of vanilla, very subtle, and at the same time, vanillic, but also it has this smokiness of By the Fireplace, and that's why I feel like, it's like the combination of those two perfumes for me. And I have been quite enjoying it. It's a very interesting take on the vanilla, and I would say that this is not like gourmand vanilla. It's not overly sweet or overly vanillic or overly like gourmand. It's more of like a hotel lobby type of vanilla. It's not edible. It's more of like a sophisticated and elegant type of vanilla with a little bit of smokiness in there. And I also wanted to add that I definitely do pick up on the cinnamon and the butter note here. It's like a combination of cinnamon and butter, and it's, very, very smooth and creamy. So I quite like this perfume, and I feel like it's an interesting take on the vanilla. There are not many perfumes that smell like that. So I feel like, if you want to try something new in terms of like vanilla scent, I feel like you should give Dream by The Maker a chance. And the next perfume is Fleur Eclair by Regime de Fleurs, and I have been wanting to try this perfume because the notes sounded like super interesting for me, and I do like this perfume, but I don't find it groundbreaking. So let me start the review. In the opening, it smells like something very floral, and I know there's orange blossom and there's jasmine, so I do pick up on this white floral quality of this perfume for sure. And also there's something fresh and dewy and almost like juicy, and I feel like that's coming from the rose. But it's not just that. There's also gourmand notes here. It has sugar, it has cacao, and I definitely pick up on the subtle sweetness here. It's subtle, but it's still pretty prominent. So like it's definitely a sweet perfume. It's not completely floral, and there's also a spicy quality that's coming from cardamom. So you have to kind of not mind a little bit of spiciness, just a bit of bit of a kick from cardamom. So I feel like it's pretty nice and interesting perfume. And there's also a note of patchouli in the base, but honestly I don't really pick it up. Like it might be barely there, so if you're afraid of patchouli, don't be afraid of patchouli, because it's you will barely smell it here. And the picture I have in my mind when I smell this perfume is that it's spring outside. It's like an early spring, so the flowers are blooming, but the air is still fresh and crisp, and you're sitting on a terrace and you're eating a small dessert, and you're like wearing a trench coat and you're eating the small dessert, and the flowers around you are blooming. So it kind of gives me this picture because it's a little bit sweet, so it kind of reminds me of like small dessert, but also there are like lots of flowers around you. That's why I think of spring. And it's also very, I feel like, elegant, it's subdued, it's not in your face, it's very sophisticated. So that's why that's kind of the image I imagine when I smell this perfume. And to me this is probably like a spring perfume. Maybe not so summery, just because it has this prominent sweetness from cacao and sugar, and there's also a note of cardamom here that makes it slightly spicy. And the next perfume I want to talk about is Pour Revere by Maison Violet. So I found this brand on Lucky Scent. It was like in new editions, and it really intrigued me because I especially liked how the nose of this perfume sounded. So I decided to order a sample and try it, and it did not disappoint. It's a very interesting and unique type of perfume. So in the opening, I smell cacao and nuttiness. Like it's also, I would like to mention that it's not a gourmand and sweet type of like nuttiness. It's definitely more of a dry and kind of like natural type of sweetness here. It's natural cacao, not like a sweetened cacao, but more so like a natural one when you just smell it, and it doesn't have any additional sweeteners added. And also there's a very interesting note here that I could not pick out, and I was thinking what could it be, and then when I actually looked up the notes I realized that it's a note of mate. So it does give me this kind of like tea vibe. It has this like subtle tea quality here as well, which I find very interesting because I would not think that tea would go here really well, but it actually does go here super well. And there's also like myrrh and iris, so I definitely can smell the iris here. It has this like powdery undertone that gives you this kind of like cosmetic feel, so I do quite enjoy it. And in the dry down there's a slight hint of incense, vanilla, and patchouli. There's definitely patchouli here, and it's kind of like a wet and earthy type of patchouli. So this is something that you're not into, then definitely sample first, because this perfume for sure has this like wet and earthy quality, so you have to like this type of perfumes to like it. But overall I feel like it's a very interesting profile, and it smells very natural like I've said before, and it has this like earthy quality that you would not think it has just looking at the notes. So I definitely highly suggest trying this perfume if you're looking for the scent profile like that. And the next perfume I want to discuss is Taif Rose by Jo Malone. And when I saw this fragrance coming out, I did not really expect much because I'm pretty neutral about Jo Malone fragrances usually. And when I saw it in Sephora, I decided to try it on my skin. And let me tell you, I was like pleasantly surprised. I really, really loved this perfume. And also, I want to mention it right off the bat that the longevity just blew my mind, because Jo Malone fragrances do not last usually, but I sprayed it around like 7 p.m. in the evening in Sephora, and I woke up in the morning and I still smelled it. I was like, what? There's just no way, but it did happen. So I feel like this perfume has definitely a good longevity. So now let's talk about how it smells. And it smells exactly like the notes. It smells like rose and coffee. It does remind me of Roses Vanille by Manser, and it reminds me of Intense Cafe by Montal. It's the same scent profile. It's like a sweet, jammy rose, almost like a gourmand and edible rose with coffee in the background. Definitely it's in the background. Like I could definitely say that it smelled like 15% coffee and 85% rose. So it's primarily a rose perfume with a hint and a touch of coffee, but the coffee is not prominent at all. And amber, like I'm not sure I picked up on it, like maybe it's there just to kind of like round up the scent, but I don't really smell it. And it's there is not much else to say about this fragrance because it's smells very simple. There are only 3 notes, at least according to the Fragrantica, and I would say there's definitely like a very, very sweet rose. It's very, very sugary rose. At one point I thought maybe there's a note of sugar or vanilla just because it's so sugary and jammy and sweet. So I feel like if you like this type of scent profile, definitely try it. And I want to mention that it smells nothing like Tom Ford rose fragrance. Let me tell you which one. So people compare it on Fragrantica to Cafe Rose by Tom Ford. It smells nothing like that. I did not like Cafe Rose at all, and it just doesn't smell like it at all. So if don't rely on that. And also I would like to say that while I really liked it, I thought that since I already have Roses Vanille, probably it's gonna be redundant in my collection. But if I did not have Roses Vanille, I think I would have gotten this fragrance because it just really, really nice scent, and I feel like it's good for any occasion, any weather. You can wear it in the fall, winter, summer, spring, it doesn't matter. It's very feminine, very girly, and just really, really beautiful. And also want to mention that of course I am a big fan of this type of profile, like rose, coffee, sweet, jammy kind of rose and coffee, and that's why I have Roses Vanille. And I also really love Intense Cafe. So if you like the scent profile, then definitely give this one a chance. But if you already have other 2 or one of them, then it might be just a little bit redundant in your collection. And the last perfume I want to discuss is Turmeric Latte by Lush. And I've heard a lot of good things about this scent, and of course I did not blind buy. I just went to the store and I tried it on, and I have like mixed feelings about it. It has a very interesting opening. It's almost like kind of milky and lactonic and reminds me of like chai latte. It definitely has this like turmeric kind of quality. It's really hard to explain. Like, it doesn't smell directly like turmeric, but you can tell there is turmeric in there. And also there are no lactonic notes or milk notes, but it does kind of smell lactonic and milky. And of course I do smell the tonka bean, I smell the vanilla, and I think there's also a note of benzoin. I'm not sure that I smelled that, but yeah, if I would describe the scent, then I would say it smells like kind of like masala tea. It smells like chai tea latte. It's kind of like in this type of realm, and I definitely liked the dry down more. So in the dry down, it kind of just smells like a faintly of chai latte, while you know in the opening you could definitely pick up on this kind of like turmeric quality, which I was just not the biggest fan of. So probably, you know, I would not get it for myself just because I'm not the biggest fan of, you know, the opening. But if there was no such opening and I could only smell the dry down, then I would consider it, because I really enjoyed the dry down, but unfortunately I did not enjoy the opening. So that was my review of the perfumes that I have recently tried. Please let me know, guys, have you tried this perfume? What do you think about them? What perfumes have you tried recently? Please let me know in the comments. I'll be really waiting, and I hope you have a good day. I'll see you next video. Bye!